to drive to work to pay for this car, buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today I am talking about TYT and their reaction to Elizabeth Warren's shakiness on Medicare for All. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is in the description box down there. Click that link, read the story, check out the donations, check out the other donations, then please donate yourself. None of the money goes to us. I believe there's like a $5 minimum. So $5 and up, any amount over that $5 is helpful. So please help out at Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link in the description box. Now, I was just randomly watching TYT. I guess one of their videos was recommended, and I saw the title saying Elizabeth Warren, questioning her about Medicare for All. And here's what I saw.
Following pressure to answer questions about how Elizabeth Warren proposes to pay for Medicare for All, she has decided to come out with a statement that I think is disastrous. Here it is.
Over the next few weeks, to put out a plan that talks about specifically the cost of Medicare for All and specifically how we pay for it. Right now, the cost estimates on Medicare for All vary by trillions and trillions of dollars. And the different revenue streams for how to fund it, there are a lot of them. So this is something I've been working on for months and months, and it's got just a little more work until it's finished.
Okay, so I'll give you my sort of reaction to hearing that first. Why have you been riding Bernie's coattail? Or letting others do it, like put your name in the same sentence as Bernie Sanders in regards to a health care plan, when if you're figuring out ways to pay for it, then you don't have the same policy as Bernie Sanders, right? So all these people that are supporting you, that happen to have large platforms, keep telling me that, no one supports Medicare for All like Bernie and Elizabeth, but apparently your plan is different, right? So I like a point that Jamal Thomas made, which is Medicare for All is an actual bill. It's not a statement, right? Just say you like single payer, you like that idea, as opposed to Medicare for All, which is an actual bill, as in there's details into it, which is it's just waiting to be signed off on, right? As opposed to like this idea that's floating around. It's an actual thing, so people shouldn't be saying I support Medicare for All unless they mean the actual bill that that Bernie has, which is why you see people sort of changing the names of theirs. So that's my reaction to that. It's like, did people who are already skeptical, did they really believe her anyways? Probably not. I'm probably in that camp, as in, I don't see her like, if she's the president, I don't see her working so hard for this type of health care bill. I suspect a public option would happen if she was the president, if anything at all. All right, so let's hear their analysis.
So there are multiple reasons why I think that this was bad. The optics are bad. You have a candidate who has branded herself as someone who has a plan for everything, and then when it comes to Medicare for All and how to pay for it, there's no plan yet, and that seems problematic.
Yeah, once again, right? Don't we mean Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill? Like, that's the one she was saying she agrees with, right? So it's kind of, I don't know. I think that's weird. As in, like, oh, are you trying to get people to, make it seem like you have the same plan as Bernie Sanders? Pause the game. Pause it.
But more importantly, and this is the same issue that she had, in my opinion, when it came to the whole Native American issue, she's allowing dishonest actors to frame the discussion. And so she's caving into pressure, and she appears unprepared. She appears like she doesn't really have this all worked out. Bernie Sanders has his version of Medicare for All. Pramila Jayapal has her version of Medicare for All. They're both very similar, and they both go into detail about how it would be paid for. Bernie Sanders is clear. Yeah, your taxes are gonna go up, including the middle class, but at the end of the day, you're gonna save. No premiums, no deductibles, no co-pays. You don't have to worry about whether or not you gotta buy separate health insurance, or you should say dental insurance, and then optical insurance. All
right, real quick. When she talked about framing, you're letting dishonest actors frame it. Well, it's been framing. There's been plenty of framing in the other end of it, right? To make it seem like a positive for Elizabeth Warren. As in, oh, your plan is Bernie's plan. There have been people framing it that way. Maybe people you work with, Anna. You know, the guy who's probably about to speak soon may be framing it like, oh, Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for All is just Bernie's Medicare for All. She supports Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All. They're the same thing. So I might call that dishonest framing, but, you know, let's continue.
All that stuff. He's very clear, and even with his framing, it's polling well. Medicare for All is polling well. I don't know why she's like twisting herself up in a pretzel to appease dishonest actors.
Well, it's probably a wink and nod at a particular Democratic Party members or elites in the Democratic Party. It's probably a wink and nod as in, I'm not really going to support this Bernie Sanders Medicare for All thing. All right, I think Jimmy Dore did a video on that old guy who's close to Elizabeth Warren apparently and says, oh, there's no chance she's going in with Medicare for All. Not with Bernie Sanders' version, at least. Maybe it's a 20-year plan, like Kamala Harris, which is 10 years, sorry. So let's hear Cenk, and this is probably the main reason I'm doing this video, because it's fucking hilarious. Here we go. That's right, I can see the chat. TYT sucks. I'm watching through their live stream, by the way. Here we go.
Nah, yeah, I don't agree. I think that she's getting a really bad rap on this. So let me explain. First of all, she has had a plan on many of the issues before the other candidates did. Well, but the other candidates didn't receive the same criticism. Hey, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, why don't you have a plan on that? Why don't you have a plan on that, right? Well, Klobuchar doesn't have a plan on 80% of the issues.
You're right, but she doesn't.
Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Booker, whoever, Kamala Harris, they're not being compared to Bernie Sanders. You're the one putting Elizabeth Warren in the same category as Bernie Sanders. Thus, she has to live up to that stature, right? So, when it comes to something, when she goes out and says, I support Medicare for All, me and Bernie do this, when she sells you that narrative and that image, and then you sell it as a result of that, Cenk, it's like, so people are going to look at her different than a Klobuchar or a Booker. They're going to be like, oh, those guys suck anyways. Show me the progressives. What do they think? And you claim to be a progressive person on a progressive independent news show. So you should be holding her feet to the fire more than anyone. Right, Cenk? Anyways.
Brand herself as someone who has a plan for that. You get what I'm saying?
No, I understand that, and I understand that when you emphasize something, you put a bullseye on it, and so the political attacks, I'm not surprised by at all, and I understand what you're saying about the bad optics, but Medicare for All is a gigantic issue, and so what did she do in the past? She said in the June debate, quote, I'm with Bernie on Medicare for All. Now, there's two things about that that need to be pointed out. One, a lot of people that support Bernie Sanders are giving her crap over that, and I don't understand that at all. I don't know how much clearer she could have been, and I don't know how much more supportive she could have been of someone she's running against than saying, I'm with him on it. So like, I think that criticism is totally misplaced.
She's with him on it, but he has a bill with how you pay for it, and it has it all laid out. So why does she need time to come up with details for her plan? Why does she need a different plan if I'm with Bernie Sanders on this? That means that you're talking about the same plan then, right? Or you just mean the idea of Medicare for all? I'm okay with the idea of it. All of them say that. All of them say that. Damn near all of them. I'd say like Mayor Pete, Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, obviously Bernie, Warren, Kamala Harris, others. They're all for Medicare for all. They're all for it, right? But, you know, they say, well, maybe we need a public option to get there first. Or we need a 10-year plan to get there. Or this or that. Like, as opposed to, I support what Bernie Sanders has laid out on paper. I support that exact bill. That's all she has to say, but that's not the case, apparently. Warren's case is, I have a different plan than that. I have a different plan for that. How's she going to pay for it? That's why she wouldn't be able to say that during the debates. You know, what happens with taxes? No, you know, the overall costs will go down. It's like, well, then it's not the same as Bernie Sanders. So why are you selling it like it's Bernie's? Why are you letting other people sell it like that? Why is Bernie letting you sell it like that? Let alone TYT. Let's hear more from Cenk.
Let me just jump in on that. The
Anna.
criticism is not because she says she supports Bernie on Medicare for all. It's because she will say that and say unequivocally, I support Medicare for all. And then, as we've talked about on the show before, later she'll say, yeah, I like a lot of plans. I support Medicare for all, but there's a lot of plans. There's a lot of ideas out there.
Nah, I think that's also unfair to her. I understand what you're saying, but she says it's a framework, and then people will jump down her throat. What do you mean it's a framework? Well, the reality is, there's only two plans right now in Congress, Sanders' plan and Jayapal's plan. Normally, if you're not running for president, you go, yeah, I like Sanders' plan. Now, does that mean Sanders' plan is going to be passed into law unedited? No. Does that mean that Warren or Klobuchar or any other senator couldn't propose amendments to it? Yes, you could propose amendments, and that's how then you influence that bill under normal circumstances. But we haven't gotten to a point where we're voting on it. So Warren and all the other candidates have not had a chance to weigh in that normal legislative path, right? And so she says, I support the framework of Bernie Sanders' plan. I support Bernie Sanders' plan, right? Now, she got all this criticism, so saying, well, okay, you gotta come up with your own plan. You gotta come up with your own plan. You have all these other plans, why don't you have a plan for this? So she's like, okay, all right, so it's not good enough that I support Bernie's plan, fine. And it's fair, I am running against them. I'll come up with my own plan.
Why didn't she answer the friggin' question then? Right? Will taxes go up for the middle class? How come she couldn't answer that if she was just going along with Bernie's the whole time? I don't think she answered that in the even more previous debates, right? The older debates. Even then she couldn't answer it. So it's like she wasn't saying, you know, exactly Bernie's plan the whole time. I have to take that, you know, have to make that assumption because apparently I've been working on this for months. I've been working on this and I'm writing, you know, whatever. I'm writing my own version. It's like, okay, say that. But whatever Cenk just said here sounded like absolute horseshit.
To a point where we're voting on it. So Warren and all the other candidates have not had a chance to weigh in that normal legislative path, right? And so she says, I support the framework of Bernie Sanders' plan. I support Bernie Sanders' plan, right? Now, she got all this criticism. So saying, well, okay, you gotta come up with your own plan. You gotta come up with your own plan. You have all these other plans, why don't you have a plan for this?
She's doing this because everyone's saying, where's your plan at? Really? Something she's been working on for months? You're telling me until she said that, she was always just saying, exactly Bernie's plan, that's what I'm going with. Then how come she can't answer questions about it? That's fucking weird to me. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm not. I don't think I am. I think the gerbil in Cenk's brain is doing fucking backflips right now. Trying to steer the ship. Have this make sense somehow. Somehow, some way, this will make sense. I paused it at the right spot. Just a blank face. Anyways. Alright, that's it for me. Yeah, that's good enough. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like, comment, agree, disagree. Send me information that shows I'm wrong. That shows that Warren is indeed full on with Medicare for all, and her plan change is just specifically how do we pay for it. It doesn't change anything else like the time frame or, it's Bernie's but little tweaks to it. Please show me that information. Also, donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery GoFundMe link down there in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.